the whole Reebok and the sponge thing, I can talk about it on here?
Yeah,
cool?
let's talk about it.
Can I just talk about it a little bit?
Dana called you a liar, and he said, and I know you're not a liar. And it's, I love Dana. He's been my friend for a long fucking time, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even be working for the UFC. If he quit or the UFC got sold to someone else, I would probably stop doing it. I really would, because I wouldn't really want to work in any other kind of environment. Working for a ridiculous dude like Dana is probably the only way I could ever be a sports commentator in the first place.
Yeah.
But I know you're not a liar. So when he did that interview the other day and he called you a liar, I was like, this is a very unfortunate rift between you two that I hate.
Yeah,
it drives me nuts.
Well, the thing for me, I thought about it all last night. It's actually been keeping me up.
Really?
It has, and I talked to my dad about it whenever I need this stuff. I talk to friends and family, and maybe I'm not lying, but it does nothing for me to prove this and do all this stuff because. First thing first, I'm Team UFC, man. I wouldn't have this platform. I wouldn't have this fame, or I wouldn't be able to make money that I'm doing now if it wasn't for Dana White and the UFC. So I'm not anti-UFC in the least bit. So I was talking to my dad, and it was kind of bothering me. And my dad goes, "You don't know the grand scheme of everything. Maybe it helps out other fighters. Maybe you're the exception where you made great money and other fighters weren't." And knowing me, he knows damn well I'd co-sign on this because I don't know the overall plan of this Reebok deal. So if it helps the majority of fighters, I'm on board, man. Like I said, I'm Team UFC. If it legitimizes the UFC with all the other major sports programs, I'm in, man. I'm in.
You were just stating a fact, though, about your sponsorships, and that's where it got weird. Because he said you were a liar about your sponsors.
But I talked to Dan, so I don't know when that interview was. I talked to Dan, he called me, went over the sponsors, and those sponsors that he read on the show, that's from a banner. Those aren't sponsors. Those are gyms that I train at. Those aren't even sponsors. And one sponsor that he said, I just think he was misinformed. Someone misinformed him. I've never heard that. That's not my sponsor. That's not even a sponsor I work with. I've never heard of it.
You have all the lists. I mean, you gave it to me. You gave me a list of all your sponsors and what you actually got paid.
Yeah,
you have it.
I have proof. I have tax returns. It's not about that. It's not about
that thing you sent me. Was that a tax return?
That's the official breakdown. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's it. That settles the argument. Why don't you just release that?
Because I don't want to. It's not about that. I don't want to get into this pissing contest with Dana.
Too late.
You think?
Too late.
I disagree.
You're in a pissing contest.
Nah.
He pissed on you.
Well,
I saw him on that Landsberg show. He basically pulled his dick out and peed all over you.
I agree, but so what am I going to do? Go to war with Dana over this? Like I said.
No, you don't have to. Don't do anything.
I'm not the. I don't want to be the Tito Ortiz of this Reebok deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I fucking love the UFC, man. I love working for the UFC. There's a bigger picture here. I might be the exception. I feel like fucking Adam Sandler and Billy Madison when he's in class and he's all chlorophyll, more like borophyll, and thinks it's funny and no one says shit. Well, I was the guy who went borophyll, and every other UFC fighter said, we like this deal. And I was like, oh, shit. All right.
Well, that's not true, though. A lot of people don't like this deal.
Well,
this is a deal that a lot of people criticize.
But
right?
that's fine, and you can't criticize. But listen,
Jesus, look at this
the UFC is no different than a Microsoft or an Apple. You got to crack some eggs to make an omelet. So there's going to be some guys upset. But in the grand scheme of things, it might be better for the overall concept of all the UFC fighters. I don't know. Maybe I'm the exception. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't do me any good to release all this stuff and say Dana's wrong. That's not what I'm about. I'm about being part of something bigger than just myself, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, it's totally up to you. I mean, you do what you got to do.
And I don't have to do anything.
If somebody called me a liar, I would release the papers. If I knew that I had everything on paper that would show that I wasn't a liar. Like, it doesn't make sense to call you a liar. It makes sense to ask you what you were getting paid, and then, well, can you send me that? That's like a rational conversation. But it gets irrational when someone calls you a liar when you know you're not a liar, and you do have the tax returns. That seems to me like the rational response to that is to just show. And then maybe you guys could have, like, okay, I was wrong, you know, okay, I didn't know that people were making that much money. Because I don't know if he actually knew how much money guys like you who are very clever with your marketing and really good at promoting yourself, how much they were making. I mean, you obviously didn't talk to you about it.
No,
so
no one talked to me, but
What'd you mean about the banners? You said he was talking about.
And Dana doesn't owe me anything. That's the thing. Dana doesn't have to do shit, right? He's the captain of the ship. I'm just washing this thing, man. I'm just a guy that works on the ship. So for Dana being the captain, he doesn't owe me anything. But if anyone just told me, said, listen, Brendan, it's not about you. It's better for the UFC. Cool, man. I'm in a fortunate position where, listen, man, I don't ever have to fight again. I've won the game. I'm not here to fight this fight. I've won the game, man. I don't ever have to fight again. Do I want to? Yeah, I do. Do I have to? Nah, man. I don't have to do shit. I have a successful podcast. I have a successful merchandise business. I surround myself with very successful people who are way smarter than me, like Joe Rogan, Brian Callen. You know what I'm saying?
Brian Callen's not smarter than you. I'll tell you right now.
Dude, he definitely is. You know what I'm saying? So for me, dude, I'm not getting in this pissing contest.
Right.
If it's good for the UFC, it's good for Brendan Schaub.
Okay, cool. Boy, that's not the answer I wanted to hear. Damn.
I know. People want me to throw grenades, man, and that's not my fight. I know, it's not my fight.
I know, I'm just kidding.
You know how it goes, brother.
I was the one who wanted to get you guys together, and just like, I love both of you. I wanted to get you guys together and to stop all this fucking dick waving bullshit.
I would love that, man. I'd love to just sit down with them.
Yeah, maybe we can do it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,